I started in the industry in 2009. And there was a ton of work that was being done at that point because there were a lot of new mines that were being developed. And so it was kind of like the Cambrian explosion, so to speak, of tailings technologies. We tried a lot of different things. I'd say at this point, the operators have really settled on a few technologies, and now we're trying to see really where the limitations of those are and improve them. I would say some technologies are doing quite well. I have very little concern about being able to walk on and plant on. Certainly non-segregating tailings at CNRL Horizon, I think that's going quite well. From what I can see in the regulatory reports, I think some of the co-mix deposits seem to be doing well at CNUL, Jack Pine, and Muskeg River. We've made a huge leap forward in the industry of, it used to be that we were able to get stuff to 30% solids, and now we can get things to 50% solids. So we've gone from chocolate milk consistency to now we have a chocolate pudding, but we still can't really walk on chocolate pudding. And so I've seen a lot of new research on co-mixing, so that means we're adding sand back in. And actually just recently some other technologies, which I can't talk about yet, but I'm preliminary extremely excited about, that I think have a lot of potential. So I think we are making progress. Are we making it fast enough is a big question. I would say if you had asked me 2 weeks ago, I was feeling a lot more bleak. As I said, last week we saw some stuff that it could just be too new and shiny, but I am very excited about, and I think could be game-changing. But it's still too early to really say. And pit lake technology is where you take a tailings stream, so those fine clays, and there are two technologies that have been proposed. One is you just take the fluid fine tailings as is, so that chocolate milk consistency. You put them in the bottom of a pit. So the advantage of, so in pit, I definitely agree with that. You put it in the bottom of your mined out pit, and then they put fresh water on top of it. And the intention is that a self-sustaining lake develops, and that chocolate milk effectively is at the bottom. We have a lot of very deep lakes in Alberta where you have these muddy sediments at the bottom. And so the intention is that the tailings stay there, you have water up top, and the water is healthy and can do all the functions of a lake. The challenge with that technology, at least insofar as it's been demonstrated to date, based on the reclamation reports on pit lake technology, is we're still seeing issues with turbidity. So that's how clear the water is. So clays are very small and they scatter light. And so if you have any of them in that water column, it makes light difficult to pass through. And so you need to capture all of those clays. And they've had trouble capturing those clays because there's been gas generation from the bottom of that lake, bringing some of those fine sediments up into that water. So there's been turbidity issues. I haven't seen anything else. I would say, so the incremental improvements, I'd say the commingling is, we know this works. We know how this works. We've done enough research to understand this. There's some other step change technologies. Maybe there's some other things in there that are waiting in the wings. I haven't seen them yet. I have looked at a wide number of tailings technologies over the years. And even this one, although I'm very excited about, there are still a lot of potential fatal flaws that we'll have to evaluate. And that, I think, is part of the challenge in this area, is tailings are highly integrated. So whatever you do that makes it better to go, okay, I'm no longer chocolate pudding, I am now chocolate ganache, or I am now a chocolate bar, and this is awesome. You're like, oh, but what about the water that you just released? Can I recycle that back into my process, or is it going to foul up all my heat exchangers, or is it going to screw up my extraction process, or is this going to cause downstream environmental concerns? So even once you find a technology that is a step change on the geotechnical space, there's all of these additional questions that we have to answer. In the past, there used to be an annual call for proposals, for instance, through the IOC process, where they would have about 500,000-ish of proposals that they would fund each year at the fundamental research stage. That call hasn't happened for a number of years now. I think they are still doing some of that research, but it's not in that same organized fashion. The number of people in the technical space who are working on research in tailings has declined. There's been a lot of layoffs in the area, so I just know the number of people that I interact with is smaller. If you look at the tailings research reports, there are fewer projects on those lists than there used to be in the past. So I don't have numbers offhand, but it has shrunk.